also here, and all my cycling friends are here, and thank you everyone for participating in this session. First of all, I will introduce myself. I'm Vinshad Aziz. I'm basically into real estate development and basically a builder. I'm also a director at Bike Store and secretary of Cochin Bikers Club. And that's my professional part. And regarding ham radio, I operate under a call sign BU3 Delta X-Ray Lima, that's BU3 DXL, and I got my license in 2018. That means I'm fairly a new ham here. And I could see that there are so many senior hams in this session, and I welcome everyone to this session. Okay, before going to the contents of this session, I would like to say that this session is basically intended for new hams or those who are interested to getting the license, and not for a what's it, experienced ham people or ham operators. The basically introductory session, and it's more of a my own perspective of ham radio and what was my experience for the past 2 years or so. Okay, then we will jump into the slides. And this scope of this presentation will be, first I will be talking about what is ham radio and regarding how to get operator's license. And ham radio as a social service, and ham radio sports, and I will give you some of the demos of my QSOs. QSOs means the contact, or what we call the conversation between two stations, and which I made some contacts. I will give you a demo of that also. Okay, what is a ham radio? Ham radio is basically a non-commercial use of radio wave for communication. Basically, it's called non-commercial in the sense that you are not intended to make any money out of this, and so purely as a hobby. You cannot sell your service. And the word, particularly if you look at the word amateur, you are not a professional, you are not supposed to make money. And we as amateur radio operators passionately call ourselves ham radio operators also. And why ham radio? Ham radio, if you look, I mean, in this era of instant communication where you can pick up your phone and dial a number and call any person around the world, why ham radio in this era? And ham radio is supposed to be the one of the oldest hobbies around, one of the oldest scientific hobbies rather. Basically because ham radio just doesn't use any sort of infrastructure. Basically, it's just a radio and antenna and the power supply. You are operational. And that's why still we can see that our military, our law enforcement people still uses some sort of radio communication as a backup device for their regular communication. And it's basically one of the oldest scientific hobbies, and it builds technical skill. I mean, those who are interested in DIYing, those who are interested in making things by their own, it is one of the best hobbies around. And it's very good that if you introduce our children into this hobby, not that they'll become a ham radio operator in the future, but at least we will be introducing science and technology to them. And it is a wonderful way for introducing technical skilling or developing the technical skill. And definitely ham radio is a backup for communication system whereby when all other infrastructure based communication system fails, this can be up and running within few minutes. And we have seen that in emergency situation like a natural calamity and all, we can set up a station within few minutes. And how to be a ham in India. Before going into how to be an ham in India, it's illegal to even to possess a radio if you don't have a license. If you need to buy a radio, if you need to transmit, if you need to even possess, you need to have a license. And the law is very strict about this, and it's very easy nowadays. It's very easy to get licensed. What you need is you need to pass an exam, and it's conducted by WPC, that's the Wireless Planning and Coordination That comes under the Department of Telecommunication, Central Government Department. And usually they conduct this exam every month in metro cities and every quarterly in other major cities. In Kerala, we have a center in Trivandrum, where every quarterly there are exams. And nowadays it's pretty easy for applying for exams because everything is done online, and you have material around. You need not go to any person either. The materials are freely available. And good part is that now the license can be got once you pass the exam. Usually you get licensed within 3 or 4 months. I got my license, I believe, within 4 months. So, but early it was very much more. There was much more delay. Actually, there are people who say that they got license after 5 years or so. So now it's much more easier to get a license, and but the exams are getting tougher. So if people are interested in becoming a ham, it's better that you get the license now. And in India, we have two types of licenses. What is called the general grade license, and other is a restricted grade. Actually, this changes between countries to countries. I think in US they are having around 3 types of licenses. So it's depending on the country. These type of licenses are different. And for a general grade license, they have more privileges than the other one. And general grade license, you have higher privilege in the sense that you can transmit at a higher wattage and you can transmit in Morse code. And when we come to restricted grade, it's more of a, as the name indicates, more of a restricted license. Your rights are much more restricted than the general. The transmit watts is restricted to 50 watts, and you cannot use CW or the Morse code. And this tell you a basic telecommunication, how basic radio communication happens. And you have radio here, the radio number 1. If you transmit, you have the electrical signal goes through a coaxial cable to the antenna. Then it get converted to radio waves, and that it will pass through our environment and just hit this radio number 2 antenna. And through the coaxial cable, it will go to the radio and demodulates, and then we can hear the signal. This is a basic model of radio communication. And then we'll come to the amateur radio bands. Even if you get a license, you are restricted to certain frequencies, and only within this frequency you can transmit. Basically, when we look at the bands, you can divide that into UHF, VHF, and HF. And there is some MF also, medium frequency, and there are super high frequency. So we will discuss 3 frequencies first, that is UHF, VHF, and HF. UHF is more of a short distance communication frequency, whereby you can say that within a city limit, you can use VHF, mainly because of higher frequency. You can use it even inside the building. And this is called a 70 centimeter band. Why? Because the wavelength is of 70 centimeter. And the reception wise, audio clarity wise, UHF is far better than VHF and HF. And regarding VHF, that's a very high frequency. It's more of a, you can say, the district wise communication frequency. And if you use repeaters, you can just cover entire state maybe. And in Kerala, we have so many repeaters. For example, we have one at Idiki. That is one of the best repeaters in Kerala. It's called V2 FAR. And but the main problem is that most of these repeaters are located at hilltop or maybe at very tall buildings, and mainly because of this location, usually it gets hit by lightning, and unfortunately this FAR is down for maybe around a month or so. And we have another repeater in Cochin called V2 CHN. That's also down due to a lightning strike, and mainly mainly because of the location and the remote location. It's very difficult to access. Even the DK repeater is inside the forest, I believe, and it takes a day's time to trek and do the maintenance work there. That's what I heard. And then we'll come to HF. I'm more of a HF guy, and I operate mainly HF. HF is a very interesting band in the sense that you can communicate with very far away stations, and last week I was talking to a guy in a station in Italy. And we'll come to that why HF is having a longer distance capability than VHF and HF in the next slide. If you look at this slide, it's very interesting, and it's called a radio wave propagation because the type of radio wave and that the farther it can go varies upon the frequency. So in VHF and UHF, it's more of a line of sight propagation in the sense that it goes in a straight line. If you get see that in the transmit antenna, the radio waves travels more of in a straight line to the receive antenna. And so due to the Earth's curvature, it's limited in distance because it cannot travel beyond that because Earth's curvature will cut it off, or maybe in taller buildings, or maybe if there are any mountains, it will cut it off. So usually that's why we have a repeater. If you see that if there is a repeater here, you can hit the repeater, and the repeater will transmit again from that repeater to the another station. And when we come to HF, it's much more interesting in the sense that we use a layer of atmosphere called that ionosphere. It's in the lower part of the atmosphere. We have a layer called ionosphere. It's electrically charged particles, so whereby when we transmit from here, it will go and hit that ionosphere, then it will reflect back. And if it will reflect back again, bounce from Earth, and again go and hit the ionosphere, then again it will bounce off from ionosphere and again come back to Earth. And this is called skywave propagation. And this is the beauty of HF, that this enables HF. You can use HF for a long distance communication. But in the case if there is a line going straight, it's called line of sight. If you use VHF or UHF, it will just pierce through ionosphere. It will never bounce off ionosphere because of the frequency. It'll just go and hit, go directly into space. And you can use VHF to communicate with satellites. Even our International Space Station is having a ham on board. If you're lucky, if you use the right directional antenna, and if you're lucky, you will be able to communicate with a ham operator on board a International Space Station. And amateur radio as a social service. Most of us are aware that during the 2018 Kerala floods, our fellow hams were able to provide communication support for our authorities. And I could see that it was the first year of my, after getting my license. As I said, I got licensed in 2018. And during 2018 flood, I was stationed at collector's camp office along with my friend EU2 XJL Vishnu. And I went there, and we together set up the station for the first day. And the next day onwards, I was more or less involved in providing relief to the camp officers. So next day onwards, my fellow hams were more involved in that flood relief activities. I was more into visiting camps and making supplies there. And why? Because even in a natural calamity, when we discussed in one of the first slides, this system of communication will never fail, because basically what you need is a 12-volt power supply, a radio, and an antenna, and you can set up a station and you start communicating. And we also provide backup communication during festivals and events. Basically, even for even like a Cochin Carnival, our fellow hams have provided communication support. Basically, because when there are more people congregating at a particular place, even the mobile tower can get jammed, and it usually happens in that test also happened. And we ourselves as cyclists, when we conducted one of the events in Cochin, Hams had a support, I mean, gave support during one of the events in Cochin. I was also part of the organizing committee of that cycling event. And this is a picture of myself doing a duty as a radio marshal during 2018 Popular Rally. During that period, actually, I was observing or rather monitoring two frequencies. I had one radio inside my car, and I was also carrying one radio on my waist belt. And actually, I was monitoring a repeater frequency in my car and simplex frequency on this handy. And then we'll come to phonetics. The beauty part of any communication is that it should be clear. So what happens is that when we communicate, some of these letters get interchanged. P can be heard as B. So International Telecommunication Union, it's a conglomerate in the sense that it's a union of all the telecommunication authorities around the world. So they don't have any legal rights over there, but it's more of a association. They have formulated a phonetic, and this is used worldwide, even not just by hams, but also by other sort of radio communication, whether it is legal authorities or maybe even for aircraft communication, they use this alphabet as phonetics. They have Alpha, Bravo, then interestingly, I is for India. And then we will come to the common jargons used in ham radio. And this is not by any sort of order. I just written it out, and it's not as per any order. And ham and amateur radio is same thing, call sign and call. When we communicate, we always communicate by giving our call sign. Call sign is, my call sign is VU3 Delta X-ray Lima. So VU3 is VU is for India, denotes India, and 3 and 2 are 2 is usually for the general grade, and 3 is for restricted grade. And there are a few other special call signs which are assigned for some station, like Alpha Tango, Alpha Uniform, etc. And Roger, Roger means yes, yes in our parlance, and we usually don't say yes, we usually say Roger, Roger. You must have heard Roger, Roger in many of the films. And radio rig handle, these are basically all radios, and we usually call it as rig. Handle means similar to something like a walkie-talkie. And base station is the bigger radio that we keep at our shack. And then we come to shack in the sense that shack can be any room or any shed where the radio has been kept and where you are operating from. Mobile is that you are operating from a car. Portable is that you are operating using a handy. Handle and name are the same. Handle means your name, the operating station's name, other than your call sign. QTH is the home. QSL means we don't say when you say that is it a confirmed, when we say that QSL. QSL means giving confirmation to what you have transmitted. QSO is seen as contact or a communication which has been done what's it correctly. Then interesting part is homebrewing. We call homebrewing is that anything which you have made it by yourself. And this is the interesting part of ham radio hobby, is that it helps you to make your own antenna, your own radio. And the wonderful part of myself being a ham is that I like to make antennas, and basically I'm a DIYer, whether it is modifying my 4x4 for off-roading events, or even making small furniture at home. I'm basically a DIYer, and this is that attracted to me to ham radio. Basically helps you to develop your skill of doing things by yourself. And I've made few antennas of the last 2 years, and there are a few pictures I'll be showing you in the next few slides. Then CQ. CQ is when interesting part of radio communication is that you cannot pick up similar to a phone. You cannot pick up your phone and dial a number. You have to call someone to answer your call. Basically, you're transmitting your voice to everyone. I mean, if someone is hearing you, they can answer back. So CQ is a code for calling any station to come and answer a call. So we don't pick up our microphone and say, is there any station, please come in. We just say CQ. And the 10th part, which jargon I found interesting was young lady and old man. Guys or a male, anyone is disregard to his age is called an old man. A 12-year-old boy and a 98-year-old man is called as old man. But regarding ladies, they have a beautiful name. Regardless of age, they are called young lady. That's pretty interesting. And other than the activities we discussed, there are some sort of spotting activities in ham radio. And these are the activities I have listed. One is the contest, then we have fox hunt, then field day and the expedition. First, we'll discuss contest. Contest is that you have to contact maximum number of stations within a stipulated period of time. And there are various type of contests happening around the world and throughout the calendar. Even during our lockdown, there was a contest called CQWPX. I also participated in that. And there are a few more contests happening maybe next month also. And I will be participating in that. It's like what we do before our cycling race or BRM. You have to prepare your radio, you have to prepare antenna, you have to bring down the antenna, clean the contacts, again put up the antenna. The preparation all similar to our BRM or Breve or any cycling race we do. And it's pretty interesting. And in 2018, I was placed number one in that is worldwide DX contest, and in my category I was placed number one in India. And again in same event I came number two in rookie category. Rookie means any station with card license within a 2 years period can participate in a rookie category. I was placed second in India and I was ninth in Asia. Okay, then we'll come to QSL cards. Before internet and all these online platforms came in, the confirmation of contacting a faraway station was given through QSL cards. QSL cards is nothing but a postcard which faraway station send you by post, by the snail mail, what we call. Nothing online, basically a hard form of a postcard. And this is a QSL card I received from Netherlands, the Papa Alpha 8563, and you can see that the date of that contact is 14/3 in 2019, and UTC is the time. UTC means it's similar to the GMT, and this is the frequency I worked, and this is the mode I worked, and this is my RST. RST is the signal report I got from that station. And this is another QSL card I received from Northern Ireland. It's a similar thing, and I was also admitted to the Sperin DX group in Northern Ireland after I made a contact with the station. And there are some personal messages also. This particular station is thanking you. Thank you, Vinshad, for pulling me in during a lot of QRM. QRM means a lot of noise was there during that QSO, and I could hear him and I pulled him through that QRM. Then we'll come to the next activity. It's called fox hunt. It's similar to fox hunt, and people on horseback hunting for the fox. Similar to that, we need to find a particular transmitter. Usually that transmitter will be located on a secret place, and you have to find that transmitter. You need to have a special kind of directional antenna for locating that transmitter. And any team, usually it's a kind of a team event, and any team that finds the transmitter first wins that event. It's like a fox hunt on a horseback. Usually, the hams we are finding, or rather trying to find the station are called hunters on horseback. And field day operation. Field day operation is something like you go to a remote location, and it's mainly out of home operation whereby you set up your radio. Here you can see that I'm using a battery, and that's a 12-volt battery inside that battery box. And that time I was operating on a very low watt. I think it was around 25 watts. Being a battery operated field day, I could only use 25 watts during that event or rather field day. This building, this was operating on a above maybe around 9th floor building on terrace. And then we come to the expedition. The expedition is rather, 1 second. Yeah, sorry. Okay, the expedition is one of the most expensive of these activities, whereby you go to a very far away spot, and rather usually you go to a very far away island and set up a radio and try to make contacts. And usually you get a special call sign for this. There are so many teams who have done it, and even from India, many hams have done the expedition, and it's all available on the web. If you are interested, you can have a look at it. Then now I will give you a tour of my shack. And it's a rather simple shack. This is the antenna tune I use. It's an ICOM 8140. It's basically a marine antenna tune. I have to do some home brewing to make it suitable for my radio. This is my HF rig. This is an ICOM IC 7000. And this is my VHF radio. It's an ICOM IC 2300. This is my power supply. And this SWR meter for making sure that you are transmitting correctly and the antenna is correctly tuned. And this is my logbook, and as per rules, you have to maintain a logbook. And this is my UHF VHF handy. This is the least expensive of my equipment because you can usually buy this handy for less than 2,000 rupees. And this is a Raspberry Pi I use for cat control and some waterfall display. It is mainly used during my contest times, and I will be using logging software like N1MM during contest. And this is a picture of my Raspberry Pi, and this is a 5-inch, I believe, 5-inch display. Running a software whereby I can see the waterfall display. This is mainly used during contacts because you need to contact maximum number of stations with a short period. So this helps you to find the stations which are nearby. You can see that there is a peak here. There's one station here, another station is here. And this helps you to make maximum number of contacts within a stipulated period of time. And then I will show you another one, another software which I use. It's called N1MM. Okay, I think you can see this. This is the software I use. It's called, it's a very common software, freely available. And this is the log of my contact during that CQ, the contest I did maybe 28th of March. That's pretty good contest. Waiting for the results now. Okay, then we'll come back to the slides itself. And we will just show you some of the demos I have made for you. This station is from Croatia. It's a 9 Alpha 5 Oscar. I'm not sure whether you are able to hear it. I'll just try to play it.
Vinshad, would you like to share the screen with the option of optimum sound?
Okay, just hold on.
Maybe you can disconnect and then start screen again by enabling that optimum viewing option so that,
Okay. Yes.
yeah, thank you. Thank you, Vinshad.
Thank you.
Give a moment because that now the audio bar is there. Okay, now it's okay.
Yeah. How is the audio now?
Now it's clear.
Nine Alpha 5 Oscar, this Victor Uniform 3 Delta X-Ray Lima.
Okay, that was station from Croatia. Then there's another station from Italy.
Lima, this is Maori Italy Victor 3 United Tango Victor with my radio made over.
Yeah, Roger. I mean, your radio and your antenna is doing its job fantastic, Mario. Can you give my report? I mean, you didn't say my report. Is the report there, over?
Yeah, Roger. At this moment I am good 5x9 plus, but before it's 5x7. Here, good home, lots of Lima, this is Maori Italy Victor.
Okay, this another station from Russia. It's called United Bravo 3 Alpha.
Uniform Bravo 3 Alpha.
Yeah, Roger. Uniform Bravo number 3 America. This is Victor Uniform 3 Delta X-Ray Lima. You are 5-8 in Cochin, over.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you. Thank you so much, Richard, for the time. Your partner and also very good signal here in Moscow. My name is Andre.
And there's also another station from Italy.
Yeah, Roger. Actually, you are 5-6 to 5-7 at my end. My name is Vinshad, Victor India, November Sierra Hotel Alpha Delta, and my QTH is Cochin, a city in southern part of India. Over.
Vincent, thank you very much for coming back and report. Because I have only congruent loop on 20 meters, Georgia.
Yeah, QSL on your antenna setup. I'm also using an ICOM IC.
Uniform Bravo 3 Alpha.
Okay. Then I will show you some of the antennas I've done. This is my X-beam antenna, and this is what you start off with. You one second. Okay, yeah, I made it with 12 mm aluminum plate, and this is what I end up with. Yeah, you made a base plate, and this is my spreaders, and this is the end product. This is a MOXON beam antenna, excellent antenna, and I've been using it for the last 1 year. But I had to bring it down mainly because the tuning was a bit off, and I need to erect it again. Currently, it is down now, and current operation is through an antenna called MOXON beam antenna. This is the star performer in my shack actually. This is the one I used mainly for the last contest and this contest also. This is a pretty good antenna. And difference is that it's much better to tune than the other antenna I showed you. And before saying you thank you, there's another antenna I made. It's called a screwdriver antenna. So mainly a mobile antenna for my car. And this way I tested it. And this is called the inverted V antenna. This also I use it regularly. And it's more of a heavy duty antenna in the sense that you can use it every day and just fit it and forget it sort of antenna. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to my session. And
Vinshad, we
yeah.
have some queries also. Would you like to take up that queries?
Okay, definitely. I mean,
yeah, you're going through the queries?
1 second.
Yeah. You can click on the Q&A and take up the queries.
Got it,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah, thank you, Vinshad. Vinshad will be going through the Q&A which has been raised by participants. Please give him a minute so that he can see the queries, so that we could arrange the queries and we can answer in a wider forum. Thank you. Hand over to Vinshad.
Okay. I won't be answering specific questions about the antenna, how to make antenna. I think this is beyond the scope of this presentation. And there is one question by Albin Sebastian asking, is it possible to transmit to other countries with a 5 watts transmitter? Okay, restricted grade operators can operate on HF up to 50 watts. It's definitely possible, provided that you're having a perfect antenna. And I've made so many contacts on 50 watts itself, and basically mine is a low power station, and it's definitely possible. And provided that you have a perfectly made antenna. And the power, I believe in low power transmission only, and you can make so many contacts with just 50 watts, and it's very much possible, provided that you have a very good antenna. And it all depends on the location also. I've seen that some location it's much easier to do HF, especially city like Cochin. It's very easy, mainly because we have a sea very close by, and it's very much possible with a low power station to make a long distance contact. One I don't know, the name has not been given. It's written as architect. What will the approximate cost of HF shack? Actually, there are so many kits available for example, if you heard, it's called a microbitex kit, where you can make your own HF radio. To cost hardly 10,000 rupees. And even though that's a QRP rig, QRP in the sense a low power rig, and if you get put some beautiful antenna, it will definitely work, and you can have your first HF rig and up and running by spending less than maybe around 15,000 rupees. Okay, architect is again asking, is there any Telegram channel to study Hammer? Currently, we don't offer. I mean, all the data and all the resources are available online, and it's very much easy to study ham radio these days. And just Google it, and you will find tons of information. Nothing to be reinvented on in ham radio. I mean, all the data. And I told him, I mean, this hobby has been around for years now. So most of the antenna designs, most of the radio designs are available online. You can just download it and work on it. Most of my antenna is not my design. I just borrowed it from the internet and made it myself and made few changes, and it works. And architect is thanking. Okay, thank you very much, architect, for participating. Shantan Nair is asking whether it is necessary to have a base station operate ham, whether handheld unit alone is sufficient. Handheld unit is the cheapest way to get into ham because I told you, it just cost 1,500 or so. And then you can add on the equipments when you find this hobby interesting, rather than first of all going and investing huge amount into a station. It's better to start off small, and I suggest you start off very small, and it's more than enough. If you have a handy, you can have a simplex contacts, and you can have a contact to repeaters also. Then startups very small. I mean, that's why I suggest new hams, just start off very small. Okay, Pradeep, I think we will wind up the session. And okay, thank you everyone for participating, and it has been wonderful to have you all here. And we will, this is a part of, I think, the fourth part of our webinar from Bike Store and the Cochin Bikers Club. And you can look forward to another webinar in a few days' time. And thank you, and I will pass out to Pradeep. Please take it back.
Thank you, Vinshad, and thank you for Vinshad for the class and giving an insight on ham radio and its scientific aspects. And if any of the participants want to reach out to Vinshad, please feel free to reach out to him for knowing the information. If anything related to scientific part, but as he said, all the study materials or other formal processes available in the internet. And anything specific to the antenna, because he is a very DIY specialist, and since he already constructed a antenna on his own, and anything related to that, you can feel free to reach him. And that's all. Thank you. And this recording will be available in our channel. Thank you, Vinshad. Thank you all for joining. Have a nice evening. Thank you.